And I was thinking about this a lot lately because we all constantly think about where we are relative to where we want to be. And we often use the word like unmet potential, right? It's like,
Yeah.
how close to my potential am I getting? But the thing about potential is limitless. There is no limit to the amount of potential that one can achieve. So the only thing that we're really missing is expressed authenticity. And the only thing that unmet potential is unexpressed authenticity. And it's like, how close to 100% of Ben Beery am I being? That's what matters. And it's like, realistically, it's like, we're coming on here, we're doing a podcast. Is there a specific agenda as to what we're talking to? Will this episode be the same as the last one we had with the last guest? Will it be a similar structure? Here's the thing, it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Like, what matters is 100%, as close to 100% of Ben Beery comes to the table. He's sitting across from as close to 100% of David Sorkin. And that makes for a different recipe and a different conversation every time.
100%.
And in regular life, when we interact with people, sometimes we see somebody as like, oh, I don't want to be friends with this person. I don't want to date this person. This person, I don't know, they did this. This is a red flag. I don't like that about them. But maybe it's not a red flag. Maybe that's just as close to 100% as they are. And you guys are just not compatible to be around each other. Like, it's not conducive to your mutual growth. And it's like, so then it's about who are the people that you can come across and be fully yourself, where those people can be fully themselves as well. And then when you guys come together, you guys put yourselves in an environment of growth.
So yesterday I was reading a book with another friend of mine, David Salvi, and he opened to this page and had me start reading it. And it was from a sage by the name of Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag, which we've learned some of his texts before. And he starts talking about, the book's called On World Peace. He was a Kabbalist from about 100 years ago, and he starts talking about this idea of unique individuality, which is exactly what we're talking about. It was really beautiful. I'm gonna try in my very best to paraphrase what he said. Unique individuality. Individuality? How do I say that? Unique individuality.
Subtitles will catch it. We'll be good.
The unique individuality. So, right, that's what authentically yourself means. So he says, we all have this unique spark of divine within. Right? That's the Ben Beery, David Sorkin, unconditionally. And this divine spark is the most beautiful thing, right? This is divine. Now the question is, how can that divine spark of unique individuality, which be the cause of all the chaos and destruction in the world? And he says, let's take it back for a second. The cause of all pain, suffering, and death in the world is selfishness. And that selfishness is predicated upon that unique individuality. I think that my view is this, my religion is this, my country is this, so let's go fight and I'm going to kill you for that. But how is this divine spark now showing up as the motivation for destruction and death all over the world and just selfishness on the small scale? And he says, well, let's talk through it. There's stages of it. At first, that unique individuality, he called it two sides of a coin. Spectrum A, it always manifests as just selfishness. And we need to remove the negative connotation around the word selfishness. It's okay, as it's part of the spiritual process, and we can get through that later. Maybe some of the viewers already know about that idea, where we're born into a body of purely desire to receive for the self alone, to then have a full 180-degree transformation to desire to receive for the sake of sharing, to have that full, to become godly of that vibration of sharing, so that it's that full expansiveness to transform the bread of shame, which we can talk about later. So it starts off as pure selfishness, which is just I want for myself. Over time, it will become spectrum B, which is on the other side of the coin of I'm sharing without an agenda. But you can't hop overnight. Everything is process. There's no instantaneous. It's always process. So the question is, this unique individuality, as we start to, in my opinion, get more in touch with it, because I think that's probably, also I'm going to try to stay away from saying we. As I get more in touch with it, you recognize, number one, where did this unique individuality come from? You realize this is from the creator, the universe, God. Once you recognize that, you realize by default, that's the most powerful thing and nobody in the world has this. So if we're talking about, right, like scarcity or supply and demand or rarity, that's the most rare thing. Like I'm one of
One of one.
one of one. I'm one of one. So that automatically should bring some, I don't know what the word would be, but so recognizing that, realizing where did this spark come from, and then the question is nourishing that unique individuality and that spark. And it's okay if it starts from a place of selfishness. So it would be better for me to say, I want to be the most powerful, richest, most well-known man in the world. Let's say that could be viewed as vain or selfish. That's okay. Because then what happens is the more you recognize where this spark is coming from, the more you realize, oh, this spark is from the creator, which means that this spark is meant to be one of sharing and expansiveness. So in fact, I should be the most powerful, well-known, abundant man in the world, because that means I'll be able to I'll share the most and impact the most and help everybody share in this ecosystem. But it has to start from somewhere, even if it's from a place of pride of like I want to be, I don't know which NBA athlete, maybe Kobe had it. I want to be the best. Eventually, maybe he got to a place of I want to be the best so I can inspire all the young kids to be the best. So it's still that unique individuality, but now it's going from spectrum A to the other side of the coin of I'm going to use this unique individuality to share. And the Rabbi Oshtek says once that happens, then the world looks completely different.
Well, I think the beautiful thing, I mean, you talk about a guy like Kobe, right? He wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the best that he could be. He's not sitting there trying to out-compete somebody else. He wanted to say, hey, I, Kobe Bryant, for the best that I could possibly be at my height, my weight, my speed, my strength, like, I want to put in as much work as I can put in. I'm not going to shortchange myself on the part of putting work in, and I'm going to be the best that I can be, right? And, I mean, we look at like the greatest basketball players of all time, right? Some people will try to debate it. I don't really think there is much of a debate. It's Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. There is not one player who has performed more successfully in high leverage situations than Michael Jordan. Some people will say that LeBron James is the greatest. I think LeBron James is a great basketball player in his own right. I think that we have never seen the consistency and longevity that LeBron James brings. But to be the best, it's a certain level of performance in a high leverage situation.